What's up guys, last week I showed how on Bomb Tree Dawnblade all the burns were proccing the necrotic grip perk, spreading the poison along with the burning and the combustions. From that we learned that the burning was counting as melee damage, which means we can also test it with all kinds of other exotics on Warlock and even try it with some mods. Yeah, it is pretty crazy what this works with. So first, looking at necrotic grip, which we already showed off in a previous video, obviously this one will work. And both the poison and the combustion and burning work the exact same way. So the second an enemy will die, it will spread both of them, which means as long as there's enemies nearby, it will just keep spreading both forever. And next you know, the entire room is dead. So now moving on to the next exotic, Sunbracers. So this perk is procced by solar melee kills, so seeing if this works. So what we can do is throw a grenade, and in theory, the burn kills will proc the perk, which will then allow us to throw a bunch of grenades. And unfortunately, as you see, it does not work. That would have been pretty crazy. It would have been truly infinite grenades just from throwing them. But obviously, some bracers are still good just in general. Now moving on to the rnstein Armlets, where melee kills will restore some health and also give you continuous regen for a few seconds. So as you see, every single time the combustion happens and it spreads to the next enemy, that will count as a melee kill and give you a chunk of health, and also give you the constant regen for I think like 8 to 10 seconds. It's quite a while. So this exotic could pair really well for harder content, for example soloing the Legend Lost sectors. Another one we could try is the Winter's Guile, which is a melee buff of 7.5x, the exact same as the Worm God Caress. This one isn't used as much as the Worm God because there isn't really a good melee build for Warlock like there is on Titan. But as we see, if we go ahead and throw our grenade, every single time the combustion happens, it will count as a melee kill and will give us stacks of Winter's Guile all the way up to ×5. And yeah, you just melee everything and it's dead. What we could do is pair this with Tractor Cannon and a 1-2 punch shotgun. And with the right grenade build, you just throw a grenade to proc the ×5 constantly. Then you go up to any major, mini boss, whatever it is, and you have the full combo, and yeah, they're just dead. And now for what I think is the most broken one, arguably better than the necrotic grip, is Felwinter's Helm. Our melee final blows will create a burst of energy that weakens nearby targets and also suppresses them, and kills against higher tier enemies will increase the radius and the duration. And yeah, it works. And it's beautiful. Just look at it. Every single enemy will be debuffed, so they take 30% more damage for not just you, anyone on your team, and they're also suppressed, which means they can't attack you. So yeah, it's something. And that is all the exotics on Warlock that proc off melees. But now we can move on to some mods. So the first one I was super curious about is Hands On, which is gain bonus super energy on melee kills. So first, doing it with double Ashes assets as a controlled clip, looking at how much super we get. Obviously the grenade will give us a huge chunk because of the Ashes assets, but after that it's a very minor chunk per combustion kill. But now with Hands On, I truly do think we're getting more per kill. As you see, it jumps up by quite a lot every single time. Next one up would be Impact Induction, which will give you grenade and energy on melee hits. And if this one works, this could be game changing, because just simply throwing your first grenade would just chain into your next one, and you would more than likely get the full energy back. And as you see, unfortunately it does not work. That would have been pretty crazy. One that I'm super interested about is Thermo Classic Blooming, which is currently disabled, so I can't test it, but this would potentially allow for every single time the combustion happened to also make an orb of power, which would be pretty crazy. I'll definitely have to test that once it's re-enabled. The final mod I want to test is Melee Wellmaker, so making solar elemental wells from melees, and in theory, every single time the combustion happens, it could proc this perk. And as you see, I did make a solar elemental well, and I made another one, and it seems to be on a slight cooldown, so it's not every single kill it'll proc, but most of them it will. And just double checking, I had to make sure I didn't have any other way to create solar wells, and I did not. And one thing I showed off in a previous video also is, obviously with Wrath of Rasputin, you can create Wormine cells from all the combustion kills. But then when you shoot the Wormine cells, if you have burning cells on, any of the enemies that survive the initial blast will then burn. And this burn damage seems to be coded the exact same way as Bomb Tree Dawnblade. So if the burn gets a kill, it will start the combustion and chain over and over again. So the next question is, can you proc the exotic armor perks from Wormine cells with burning cells on? So trying it with both the Felwinters and also the necrotic grips, as you see, it does work. That last enemy was in fact debuffed. If I try it with the grips, as you see, it will spread the poison from the initial blast of the Wormine cell. So there's two different builds you could use to take advantage of these different combos. The first one would be a full out Wormine cell build, using like Hellos SMG or whatever Hellos or Seraph weapon you want. And the 5 mods we'll be using, the first one will be Wrath of Rasputin, Global Reach, Burning Cells, Rage of the Warmind, and the final one will be Grasp of the Warmind to pick them up because the radius isn't that big, so if the Warmind cell's in a bad spot, you can pick it up and throw it wherever you want. Then if you want a full out grenade build, you can use the Judgment with Demo, then a Fusion and 1K, or Sleeper, whatever you want. And we have 4 different ways to create Elemental Wells. We have Ordnance, Explosive Wellmaker, Melee Wellmaker, then also Elemental Armaments. And finally, when we pick up these 4 Elemental Wells, we have Well of Ordnance to get that extra chunk of grenade energy. So now with that build, every single time you throw a grenade, you'll get at least 3 Solar Elemental Wells, 1 from Elemental Ordnance, 1 from Explosive Wellmaker, then finally 1 from Melee Wellmaker. And every single time you pick one up, you'll get roughly 30% of your grenade. Then if you pair that with double grenade kickstart, which will give you the first 25-30% right off the bat, if you can do some simple math, that is well over 100%. So you should be able to chain each grenade into the next one just by picking up all these Solar Elemental Wells. And then every single time these Solar Elemental Wells get kills, you'll be spreading both the Burning and Combustion along with the exotic perk of choice. For example, the Poison of Necrotic Grip, the debuff and suppressing of the Felwinter's Helm, or even getting health with rnstein Armlets. So yeah, this is definitely broken and extremely strong. And at first when I thought it was just a weird thing going on with Necrotic Grip, I could see them keeping it in the game, but now that we know that the burn damage is working as melee attacks and working with all kinds of things in Warlock, I definitely don't see this being around for too long. So definitely take advantage of it and have fun while it lasts. And if anyone from Bungie is watching this, don't disable anything. There isn't even any serious PvE content in the game right now that this would be breaking. Just let people have fun, fix it, and once it's fixed, it will no longer be in the game. And in the comment section, go ahead and comment which of the exotic perks is your favorite to pair it with. I think mine is definitely the Felwinter's Helm. Just debuffing everything for your entire team, and also suppressing them is absolutely insane. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the video, just some strike gameplay left. Thanks for watching, catch you guys next time.
Kill